Hey, welcome to my first long-form art video in a while. I'm going to try something today, so welcome to my little table. Today I'm going to be trying, or attempting to sculpt one of my OCs, if I could find the page. Okay, this is V. This is who we're going to try and sculpt today while I tell you a little bit about her lore. Can you stop pointing now? I said stop. Okay. So here are my materials. I forgot to record this part for some reason. There's the clay. Yep. So when I bring out my clay here, that I have not used in forever, mind you, and I've been keeping it sealed away because it's air dry clay, there were little yellow spots on it. Yay! Despite the fact that there is very likely mold on my clay, I decided to get it out anyway, and now I can actually get to the point of this video, which is telling you about V. So when V was born, both of her parents were very, very young, still in high school, actually. And for the majority of her young childhood, they simply didn't know how to care for her and could not be bothered to do so. Because of this, she was very resourceful and was basically doing everything on her own at 3 or 4 years old. On her 5th birthday, everything seemed like it was going to change. Her parents were taking her out. They were going to do a bunch of fun things, and she was so excited that she was finally going to have the childhood and the experiences she'd been dreaming of. Oh, and here my phone fell. Fantastic. God damn it. It's freaking squished. Anyways, continuing. After all the activities of that day, they brought her to the doctor's office. She assumed it was for some normal checkup, until a couple of scientists came out and began to discuss payment with her parents. After that, her parents left, and she tried to run to them, and they pushed her back. She was then taken away and put into a small room with a bunch of other kids. It was there that she met Rhea. Obviously scared and confused, V clings onto the first person she meets. That night, Rhea keeps her company and prays that they will go easy on her. The next morning, she is brought to the cafeteria, fed the tiniest portion of food she has ever seen, and taken away to a room. This room that she goes through her first experiment, where she is chained to the wall and left alone for hours and hours and hours until she begins to lose track of the time. Every so often, the chains on her wrist deliver a shock through her body, forcing her back into reality. This is how things happen in the facility. They were testing the limits of the human mind and body using thousands of test subjects in the form of children. This is so cliche. I promise I wrote this when I was 12, and I've been expanding on it since, but you know what? To be cringe is to be free, so. The goal of this facility was not only to test and get results on the limits of the human mind and body, but to break down these children to the point where they could be used as weapons. And this is based off an actual experiments done in the United States, I think after World War II. Full details on that, I'd recommend either doing some research on it or watching the Call Me Chris deep dive video on it, which is where I learned about it. I originally created this concept without knowing about these experiments, but they lined up very well, and I decided to take some inspiration from that. At some point during V's life in the facility, there was a massive experiment involving Rhea. She was placed in a glass box with a replica of a room, where she was forced to find the antidote to a deadly disease that they had purposefully inflicted in her. And during this, they forced all of the other children to sit around in an auditorium and watch this go down. This experiment was a double, where they would test Rhea, but also test the effects of watching something so traumatizing on a lot of these other kids. This happened over multiple days, where they were denied food or water and just forced to continue watching her struggle, getting weaker and weaker as she desperately searched for the antidote in her room. And on the final day, she collapsed and she dies. And V runs up there and she's desperately trying to break the glass, trying to get them to help her, but they don't. And the worst part is there was never an antidote. V is sedated and forced back into the room to continue this life of torture without her best friend and mother figure. Throughout many of her other years there, she's gone through hundreds of experiments on her own and had to witness many others. In one particular experiment, they were testing something new that they had created, a machine arm. She is brought into this room She is put down and she has her arm off from the elbow down.
No, it looks terrible. Her arm looks like a noodle. A wet noodle.
That's rude. Don't interrupt me. I was speaking.
Look at this stupid Gatorade ad one more time, I swear.
What did I just say? Anyways, V has her arm cut off from the elbow down and it is replaced with a bionic arm. She then has to be taught to use and, get used to having a missing limb. Exactly 10 years after she was brought to the facility by her parents, she has decided to be ready enough and brought to...
Nah. I refuse. I absolutely refuse.
I don't appreciate this, you know that? As I was saying, V is brought to a completely new place, and that is where they begin to actually feed her properly, and she is finally filled with hope again that maybe they're done with her. Maybe they've done all they can. Maybe they'll finally let her go. But instead, the very next day, they begin to train her. And even during this, they continue the experiments, but instead of testing her, they are working on her, and they begin to break down her mind completely as she continues this training. Thoroughly broken down, V is trained and used as an assassin for many years. Somewhere deep inside her mind, her real conscience is screaming. She's watching through her own eyes as people are killed by her own hand. Eventually, and thankfully, she manages to break out. She manages to come back to her senses and escape. Obviously, with the skill she's acquired and the fact that her body and mind have been specifically enhanced for physical activity, she's able to escape. As she runs away, she meets Lola, who I may or may not talk about in another video if you guys are actually interested in my OCs. But for now, that's all I have of V's backstory. And this is coincidentally the part where everything starts to fall apart for background me with her sculpting endeavors. Unfortunately, I chose a character with curly hair to sculpt for the first time sculpting a human ever. So it was not going very well. So at this point, I'm just genuinely crashing out. You can see I'm putting my little strips on. I'm like doing last-ditch effort. I tried to put on some strips, and that didn't exactly go well because they looked awful. So I went back to hand sculpting all the little waves in her hair, trying to think about how normal anime figures looked, but I'd never seen an anime figure with curly hair, and I didn't think to look one up because evidently I was not thinking. And then I tried to use this slab to sculpt something on there, and I don't know why I thought that would work. All in all, this is a complete disaster. Oh, not my face getting in there. Okay, let's speed this up a little more because it's taking too long. And then I start going off the deep end even more. Oh my god, that riff was so bad. I almost didn't want to include it because I was embarrassed. I promise I'm a better singer than that. Okay, I swear I'm better than that. But I was stressing out so bad, I started singing. I went into this so confident that it was going to turn out well and I was going to have something amazing. And then it started going so bad, and instead of starting over, I decided, you know what? We all fail sometimes, so might as well include that in the video. And I don't want to record another 90 minutes of footage, because that is how long this took. Spent 90 minutes on an absolute failure. Failure is part of life, guys. Don't forget that. What am I talking about? I don't know what I'm doing anymore. I'm just trying to fill the space. Honestly, the only thing motivating me to start editing this so early after it was done is because it was slowing my phone down, because it was an hour and a half of footage just sitting there. Whoa! Oh no, that's a disaster. Oh no, that's a disaster. Oh no. Oh no, 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 no. I love these random clips of me stressing. Genuinely the highest note I've ever hit, and it was just because I was crashing out. Oh, no, no, no. No, 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 no. I'm stressing out so musically for some reason. I had to go through all of this footage to get all of these clips out. I had to go into the audio and check all of the big upticks in, obviously, the audio log to see where the statements were. So here's the finished product. It's really, really bad, and I kind of gave up. It did end up getting crushed back into the clay bag, and I kind of regret it now because I think I could have made it work. But that's all I have right now. Please drop a like for my blood, sweat, and tears, and goodbye.